Good morning, everyone. Again, Commissioner Billy Evans, I'm here today to let everyone know that I'm going to be resigning my post as Boston Police Commissioner after just started my 39th year. It's been an It's been an honor to serve as the commissioner, and I want to thank the mayor for his confidence. I've debated this quite a bit, but when I last week couldn't double Dutch, I said, you know what, it's time. It's time to resign. And I'm going to spend more time jumping rope than I am sub. But honestly, it's been quite an honor, and I want to thank the mayor. When the mayor and I first talked about this, the mayor was an acquaintance of mine who I knew, but over the course of these 5 years, he's not only a great leader for this city, but he's become one of my best pals, and I'm going to miss him, but I've told him I'll be on speed dial for him. But I'm fortunate to work with a leader like Mayor Walsh. Every morning, our first course of action was to talk about what happened the night before and what was going to happen. And no one cares more about the safety of this city than Mayor Walsh, and I've been fortunate to have him. He left me alone. I ran the department the way I wanted to. So, Mayor Walsh, I just want to thank you for all your support. Next, I obviously want to thank my family. My wife, Terry. 3 weeks ago, we were married 30 years, which is quite an accomplishment given the schedule I keep. And obviously, my daughter, Carolyn, my son, John, and my son, William. It's not easy keeping the hours I keep, and and my wife's held it together, and she raised 3 great kids, and I'm real proud of what she's done, and I couldn't ask for 3 better kids. So thank you all. I appreciate what you've done. A lot of times I'm grumpy, and they've put up with that, but thank you for what you do. And obviously also, I want to thank my brothers, 3 of my brothers who were here. I've told my story. My parents died when I was young, and I lost a brother. But my 5 older brothers here, my brother Paul, who was the commissioner for 10 years, my brother James and Tom, my brother John, who's not here, they've always been there for me, and they've guided me along to the path I have today. So I always will be indebted to what they've done. And even my brother Paul, being commissioner, he's always been there when I've had some difficult decisions to make, including this one. So thank you. Thank you to you guys. I appreciate it. I came on this job 39 years ago as a cadet, July 9th, 1980. I was a student at Suffolk University, and I never dreamed of the day I'd be up here as the commissioner. I was a patrolman for 5 years, a sergeant, a lieutenant, a captain for 12 years, a superintendent, and now commissioner. And there's been a lot of challenges out there, but I think we're in a good place. You look over those 4 years, we've been down overall Part 1 crime, 18% over those 18 years. The stat I'm most proud of is we're down 23% on people we had to arrest. So, our crime numbers are continually going down, and we're doing that through a lot of good community work. And, also, the amount of guns, we've almost taken 3,800 guns off the street. Our use of force complaints are down 46% since 2013, and our internal complaints are down 42%. So all the numbers are going in the right direction. The homicide clearance is well over 60%, which is great. Diversity, we've tried our best with Mayor Walsh's help. We have a chief diversity officer, Michael Gaskins, is doing a great job. We started the cadet program up, which we've already put 2 classes on, and we're working continuously to increase the diversity of the job. So, things are good, but the success of a leader is only influenced by the people he leads. And I've been very fortunate to lead this department with 3,000 dedicated employees. Almost 2,200 officers every day who work tirelessly to make this city safe. And I'm real proud of those officers. We've had some really tough obstacles over the last couple of years with the environment we've been operating in, whether it's, the Occupy Boston, the Marathon bombing, the Black Lives Matter, the Charlottesville, and they've really shown this city proud. So I'm only as good as the people who I lead, and they've done a great job. I also have 800 civilians who work tirelessly every day, and they don't get the credit they deserve. They've been unbelievable to me. I know I have Kathy Kearney and Dana McGillicuddy here who make me look good every day. They just cross my T's and dot my I's, and without the civilians behind us, our department is no good. So I want to thank all the employees for what they do every day. And obviously, lastly, I want to thank the community. It's been a great ride. I've loved every minute. I can't say that I ever got up a day in my career where I haven't wanted to go to work, and I don't think a lot of people can say that. This was a hard decision for me. You can ask my wife. We sat down more times saying, should I go, should I not go? In my heart and in my soul, I'll always be a policeman, but at the same time, I got to do what's best for my family and take a step back. And, this department's in a good place under Mayor Walsh. No one cares more about public safety than the mayor. So I just want to thank everyone, especially the community, who opened up their arms to me on these peace walks, on these flashlight walks, the coffee with a cop. I think under our administration, we've taken community policing to a new level, and I hope other departments around the country do the same. Our department works every day to earn the trust and the respect of the community, and I think they do a great job doing it. So again, I'm going up to BC. I want to thank Father Leahy and the community up there. It's one of the top institutions in the country. There's no better place to go than up to BC for me. So I have a little longer commute. I sort of go from 4 miles to maybe 6 miles. But I want to thank BC. I'm thrilled to get up there, but I'm sad to leave Mayor Walsh and this administration. But, I just want to thank everyone for coming out. And again, I appreciate everyone's support over these last 38, 39 years. So thank you all.
Thank you, Commissioner Evans, and I want to thank the Commissioner for his service to our city. I want to particularly thank his wife, Terry, his children, Caroline and John and Will. The job that he has as Commissioner is a difficult job. Terry joked in the other room we were talking, and what she said was, I think he talked to you more than he talked to me, and that's true. There was a lot of conversations that happened between the two of us, and I want to thank him for his friendship. I want to thank him for being an incredible police commissioner. Since 2014, under Commissioner Evans's leadership, the Boston Police Department has been a national leader for community relations, for youth outreach, for making our neighborhoods a safe neighborhood to live, play, and work. In our first year together, we had the events of Ferguson and Missouri, and it was changing the conversation around the country on policing. There was a lot of anger, and we had already made a commitment to community police relations at that point, but it changed. It really changed how policing was done in America. We sat down with community leaders, and we sat down with faith leaders, and we worked closer with people than I think ever in the history of the city. We continued to work on those. We made it's proud to say that we made difficult decisions in our police department. President Obama recognized Boston as a leader in community policing. We went all the way to the White House, and it was just by the great work that everyone was doing collectively. It was the police department, it was our Office of Public Safety, it was our Office of Public Health, it was the Sheriff's Department, it was legislators, it was city councilors, just working together to continue to move forward. Commissioner Evans and his office built trust in the community and has left a very strong, solid foundation. He did unprecedented work with youth at risk to help people make safe choices, introduced training at the police academy on implicit bias and de-escalation, led by Lisa Holmes, was able to change the way we do training. We brought back the cadet program to make sure that we have opportunities to get more diverse young people on the law enforcement track. And we were able to look at in that area and get young people from the Somalian community and the Vietnamese community and the Chinese Cape Verdean community and the Chinese community and Latino community to understand that our city's changing to reflect the future of our city. We did our New England Gun Summit to stop illegal guns entering into our city, talking with police chiefs. We've had 4 of those summits, and about 90 different cities from across the region have come to those meetings. And the reason why, they're seeing what's happening in Boston, and Billy Evans led the charge in working with those different departments and moving forward. Bringing trauma teams and probation officers and street workers and recovery coaches. So you get the message. I'm immensely proud of appointing Commissioner Billy Evans to be the Boston Police Commissioner. It was probably one of the most, if not the most important decision that I had to make, and it was the right decision. He was one of the best police commissioners in the country and one of the best in Boston's history. I would argue, I know his brother policy, I'd say he's the best police commissioner in Boston's history.
Thank you.
But I just want to, Commissioner, I want to wish you the best. I want to thank you for your service. You still got another week here, so you're not off the hook yet. You still got to go to work. And I'm glad that Boston College came and found you because they have an incredible leader going over to Boston College. So, Commissioner Evans, thank you very much for everything you've done. Before I take questions, I have another announcement to make, a historic announcement. I'll be appointing Chief Willie Gross as the next Boston Police Commissioner. Now, those of you that aren't paying attention, Chief Gross did not tell his mother, and his mother's sitting in the front row right here. And I want to thank Chief Gross's mother. Chief Gross is a proven leader who's trusted and respected in the community. He's a 33-year veteran of the department with a decade of experience on the command staff. He was Commissioner Evans' chief, as you know, for the last 5.5 years. He's led the Youth Violence Strike Task Force. He's been a night commander. He's been immersed in the day-to-day operations of the Boston Police Department with the major events that we have and also the anti-violence strategy. He's an expert in modern law enforcement who has led international trips on training. He just came back from Central America last week talking about how do we handle some of the violence that's happening in our streets and how do we help some of the countries in Central America. I don't think the city has seen a police leader as loved and trusted in the community as Chief Gross, and that's one of the things that Commissioner Evans and myself would go out to the neighborhood, and we thought we were liked, and Willie'd come in, and then all of a sudden it would be Willie, and that's why he started jumping rope the other day, trying to beat him. But the important thing here is consistency. We're losing an incredible leader today, and bringing in a leader right behind him who will be an incredible leader so that the city of Boston and the Boston Police Department and the people of Boston don't lose that consistency. As the Commissioner talked about, if you look at all the numbers, they're going in the right way. We have 30 homicides this year, 32 many. Our goal is to get to 0, but the way we're going to continue to move forward is making sure that the next Commissioner understands and works with what we have going in the city of Boston. Chief Gross is the right person to take on this command. I'm proud to appoint Boston's first African-American police commissioner. That means a lot to the city. It symbolizes progress, and it has concrete positive impacts. Chief Gross is a leader in our communities of color. He brings with him a lifetime of trust and understanding, and he's someone that people turn to for help and advice. And he's the right person at the right time for this job, so I ask Chief Gross to come to the microphone and say a few words.
Well, good morning, everyone. Wow. I'd just like to thank the mayor. What an honor it has been to work with you, Mayor, over all these years. This is a man from the community. He gets it. We go back many years. Some of those years we won't discuss. But we've been friends as well. And one thing that resonates with all three of us is that the community helped raise us. The mayor has been a great leader. As I go across the country, people often ask, how do we do it? How do we do what we do here in Boston? The way we do that, folks, is to have forward-thinking leaders like Mayor Walsh. And I really appreciate the confidence that you have in me for me to take the next step in my career as the Boston Police Commissioner. Thank you for your trust. Thank you for your leadership. And thank you for your guidance. He is a true brother to me. I'm a little older, but he's a true brother. And I think Boston is one of the best cities in the country. Matter of fact, I think it is the best city. As well, Commissioner Evans, he came on the job before me. We have things in common. He was a Boston Police Cadet. I was a Boston Police Cadet. He worked for his brother. I worked for his brother.
That was better, right?
Yes. Sorry, he was better, all right? The thing is, again, the police commissioner also, he understands the community. Lost both parents by the time he was 14, raised by his brothers, raised by the community. He took that to the leadership style that he applied as being the Boston Police Commissioner. And trust me, he ensured that it resonated throughout the rest of the department, through me, through a brilliant command staff, which was the most diversified and most qualified command staff appointed by Mayor Walsh. We get community policing, and he has been a great big brother to me as well, and a great leader, and I've learned so much from you. And so thank you. And I know he had input in the decision-making process, so I thank you as well for your vote of confidence in my next level in my career. Now to the real good stuff. My mom's giving me the look. I told her I was getting a National Community Policing Award today. So I didn't tell her anything. So I went through to everyone. I didn't tell my sister either. And I says, hey, I'm getting an award. You know, I'm going to, praise Commissioner Evans, and then we'll get our award. So, folks, my family, I could not have done this without them. My mother, my sister Davida, my sister Waltine, who's not here, and my girlfriend Marilyn, who puts up with me. Yeah. And like the commissioner alluded to earlier, we also have a work family. When we talk about the men and women of the Boston Police Department, both sworn and civilian, they are family. We are the first police department in this nation. We started in 1630. We'd be nothing without our law enforcement family. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Ms. Laura Dickerson and Ms. Nakisha Gales, who have worked with me over 4.5 years to have my back and make sure I stayed on point. And they both have my mother's number too, so you know how that goes. But let's talk a little more about my mother, because it's going to help me segue into what I'm going to talk about next. This lady from the tough streets of Baltimore found her way to Boston, where she, single parent, raised 3 kids. Older sister, younger sister, me, the angel, right? But she did this. Single parent family, but I never grow weary of saying I was raised by my parents. The definition of that, folks, is the other parent was the community. Vietnam vets, teachers, coaches, both good and bad from the community. That's who helped raise me. This is what we love about the city of Boston, that we're the #1 community policing model in the country. When you heard the positive stats that the commissioner was touting, that wasn't just BPD, that's all of us. Boston is the best village in the country. We are the hub of the universe. The country started from here. So women like my mother, who are reinforced by the community, we can do that for every family in Boston. 1 homicide's too much. 1 senseless act of violence is too much. So we can do it. We're going to walk towards each other so we can step forward and overcome any obstacle that we face in this city. So this is my sincere thanks to the community for helping to raise me, guide me, and mentor me. I'm going to close it soon because Laura's going to give me that flashcard in a minute. But I'm just so overwhelmed with emotions of pride, and I'm just just grateful. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my brothers and sisters in blue, both sworn in civilian. They work tirelessly. They get it. I don't want to be redundant. You already heard what they do day in and day out. I am a true street cop. I started in Dorchester in 1985. Before that, I was a cadet in 1983. Many calls from my mother worried because of the atmosphere at the time betwixt the communities and BPD. But if you want change, be the change. That's why I became a police officer. Dorchester, the gang unit, the drug control unit, academy instructor, a sergeant, detective sergeant, and then the best appointment ever to the command staff almost 9.5 years ago, where we served the entire community. So Dorchester, then to the gang unit, and night command, and then this man right here, and this man right here appointed me as the first African-American chief, and I'd like to thank them again for doing that. But where am I going with this? It shows that any kid in Boston, and we were poor and we made it, will have the opportunity to be the mayor, the commissioner, or chief if we all work together. God bless my mentors, everyone that led me to where I am today. And going forward, folks, this is the best city. This is the best village. And under that concept, I am confident that people will have our back as the BPD and have my back going forward as the police commissioner for the city of Boston. Thank you.
Thank you. I know for the press, we usually don't announce two things in the same day, so any questions for anybody?
Mayor, how important is it that you appointed the city's first African-American commissioner? How important is it for that position to be held by someone who is in fact a person of color?
I think it's very important. I mean, clearly, as we think about the next level of policing and the next level of building trust in the communities of Boston, I think it sends a very strong message that we want to continue to build relationships. You know, Commissioner Evans talked about the stat of 25% fewer arrests in Boston, and that's a great stat because we're arresting fewer people, which means we're solving more by mediation on the street. And I think that using this opportunity as an opportunity to actually, the commission, and the chief just said it, you know, for every young person that's going to read the paper or read Twitter today and think about, wow, that could be me someday, being the chief. I think it's a big statement for the Boston Police Department, for the city of Boston, for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Mr. Mayor, if you could both respond to this, Lily, you as well. What message do you think this sends out to the rest of the country about the city of Boston, considering the history of a kind of a negative reputation when it comes to race?
Well, I think the Boston Police Department, in my opinion, and I'll speak for myself, we've sent that message across the country very clearly in light of all the incidents happening around the country. When the hate rally came to Boston, we had no incidences. We had 40,000 people that were there to peacefully protest, and we sent a strong message that ended those conversations around the country right after what happened in Charlottesville. And I think that that's important. I think as far as to go deeper in the question, if you're talking, does this solve racism or the perceived perception and the reality of racism in Boston? No, it doesn't. This is one more step. This is one more step towards working towards a better society. And I think that is very important as we continue to move forward.
Yes, thank you. I think folks from around the country, as you look towards Boston, what a model. I'm a student of history. There was negative history going back 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. There was negative history. But through the vision of forward-thinking leaders that brought on community policing, it changed us from being the warrior class, or throw the cuffs on and that's the panacea for everything, lock it away, to where we work collaboratively with the community. Not just throwing it out there like, hey, community policing, some moniker. We truly believe it. So, with that being said, when you look people in their eyes and don't dismiss any negative experiences that may have happened in the past. Acknowledge it, empathy, sympathy, care, and respect. Then you're on the level playing field where you can discuss things so you can go forward. We all know about a mission statement, folks, what your company's about, what you're about. But what I think we have here in the city of Boston is a vision. Where do we want to be? We don't want to emulate the past. Those are teachable moments for us, but we're going to continue to go forward. So Boston has a vision. And with our community, our law enforcement community, the private sector, the clergy, the institutions of higher learning, we're all on the same page. And yes, my brothers and sisters in the media too. So, all right?
I'll come right back, 1 second.
Back on June 28th, WBZ reported, in fact, that the commissioner was leaving his post. A day later, you called us out for using unnamed sources, which are now correct.
No, they're not correct.
What has changed since then to now?
There was no finalization in the contract with Boston College and the commissioner, and the unnamed sources weren't correct, and I still would argue that those unnamed sources were wrong. And there was a negotiation. The commissioner had to do negotiation with Boston College, which was finalized about a week ago. And so if it was later, we would have said they were correct, but they were wrong at the time.
Commissioner, can you talk?
The commissioner just talked a little bit about his strategy moving from deputy chief to commissioner. I mean, we see him out in the streets all the time. Can you just talk a little bit about what his strategy going to the top of the department will be?
Me or the commissioner? Chief? All right.
Got to get used to that. My strategy is if it's not broke, don't fix it. But, as I just alluded to earlier, we still have a vision that we're going to move forward. So, under training, reviewing policy, procedures, best practices across the country, we're going to continue to move our department forward, and that can only be done with the community. So that strategy is to work collaboratively with our village, with the community, to move the department forward. And again, we learn from tragedies from across the country outside of the Commonwealth. We realize that at any given moment, we could be facing the same thing. But what we have here is the strength of our partnership. The strategy is to go forward together, like I alluded to earlier, so that we can overcome any obstacle in this city. Biggest challenge is senseless youth violence. Just want you to know something, folks. We are not robots. When we respond to these scenes and we see a young person, that could be our son, that could be our daughter, that really affects us. And we try hard to make sure that these instances of senseless youth violence they just don't occur anymore. That's the number one thing. Senseless youth violence has to stop. There's too many guns in the street. 378 guns off the street thus far. So we want to make it so that every family is so solid that the children won't leave that family and be susceptible to going into gangs, human trafficking, drugs, or acts of violence. And again, part of the strategy, strengthen the family and strengthen the minds.
Well, sure.
Oh, quickly, if you could just talk about why now? Why this moment? Why not a year ago? And also, do you have any advice for the incoming commissioner?
Well, now's the right time. I think, I think I've had a good career. It's not fair to my family that I'm constantly away. I can't tell you, they've been up in Maine for about the last 25 years on July 4th weekend, and I'm dealing here, as you see in this one with the violence. And so it came to, do I do what's right for me or do I do what's right for my family? And, I love my family and I need to spend more time with them. I can't tell you, and I've said it, I go to sleep every night with one eye open, not looking for that call, either that a young kid's been shot on our city streets or one of my officers has been hurt. So, well, I'm looking to get more sleep, believe it or not. I'm looking to improve my running. I've been slowing down a little.
Not me.
I was hoping to gain some weight in this position, and I haven't. But, it's been a great ride, and the mayor's great. I've got to address Congress a couple times. Who gets to do that? Me and the mayor have got to walk in the White House together with President back in the good old days. And being two city kids, I remember saying to the mayor, hey, what can we steal in here, Mr. Mayor? Right? But that's the type of relationship we've had, and so it's been a great ride, honestly, so now's the time. You know, the department's doing well. I don't think we've had any major scandals over the last 5 years. Willie's a great leader, so I'm going to pass the torch to him. We have great leaders here, Superintendent Long, Superintendent Buckley, Lighting, a lot of them that can take this department forward. But, you know, I can't believe I've been on that long, you know, and it's time. It's not fair to my family at this point. And so when BCE came forward and offered me opportunity, there's no better place to work. You know, I was a captain out in Austin Brighton for 9 years. And I work very closely with BC out there on the orientations, on the move-ins, on tailgating. You know, I've worked with Harvard and Yale. I've done a lot of orientation. So really, in my heart, I've always been involved in the colleges. So this is the right fit at the right time. What? Yeah, I mean, you know, no.
Wait. Well, I'm gonna
Maybe start running a little.
I know what he's gonna say. So he's gonna give me. Stop it, runner. We already agreed that he's gonna give me 3 of his suits so I can make my first suit.
No, honestly, I talked to Willie and I said, we have a great department. The men and women, both sworn in, do a great job every day. Nothing's really broken. Just keep the ship afloat, and his priorities are right on. Mayor Walsh and myself's priority from day one is to stop the violence in our streets, to stop these kids from shooting each other and get the guns off the street. And Willie's going to do a great job. Commissioner Willie now is going to do a great job, and we got all the confidence in the world of him.
Commissioner, we've seen you step before those microphones many, many times in the middle of the night for all kinds of events, but when you step to this microphone today, you are very emotional.
Right.
What is the significance of this point in your life that you made this decision, and what are you going to miss the most about working with the Boston Police Department?
Well, it's emotional. You know, me and the mayor had a hug back here, and I think we were both teary-eyed because that's how close we've gotten. That's how, you know, we call each other a couple of times a day, not just on policing matters, but I think we've grown to be real close friends, and he's asked my opinion on a lot of issues, and I'll miss that, and I made clear, you know, I'm still going to be there for you. But like I said, you know, this is what's important to me right now. You know, I've almost spent 40 years away from my family for the most part, and, you know, my wife Terry, I couldn't ask for anything better. I've sat down with her when I was contemplating this move, and I kept saying to her, you know, I love this job. My heart and soul is in this job. But the best thing for my family at this time is me to move on there, take a step back. There's no greater opportunity for me to stay in the city and work with a great institution. So that all played into it. But I think we leave the city in a good place. I'm real proud. You know, I think we have the best police department in the country. And, you know, it was the right time.
Thank you, Ray.